Alright guys, so this is our current welding table that we've been using for the last few years. It's an old grate that used to be in front of a step with tube legs welded onto it, a vise bolt in the corner here, and it's served us well in the past, but the problem is it's very wobbly and rather loose. And there's not a whole lot of space to work once you get a welder on top of it, or put the welder on the floor, or then you have space on here, and then if you have a small part, it just falls through the grates. So I am currently building kind of my dream shop kind of in the garage, and I wanted to build a welding table. So I was going to kind of mimic this, except build it with a solid top and a shelf in the bottom, so I can put my welder and my plasma cutter on the shelf there and have all the hooks and everything on the sides for the cables to hook onto, and the whole top of the table will be completely free, and there'll be no grate for parts to drop through, as well as have a nice big vise and a very sturdy table. So went to the scrapyard the other day and picked up this. This right here is a 3/8 thick piece. Not exactly the dimensions. It's about yay big. Should make about 3x4 foot welding table out of it. And I picked up some 2x2 box steel here, heavy stuff for the legs of the table, as well as a bunch of small angle iron that came from a shipping container we had for the shelf underneath, and then just some 1/8 thick flat steel for the shelf underneath. So we're going to start marking out this entire 3/8 plate here, get plasma cut it all out, weld on, cut the legs to size, weld those on, build a shelf, mount a big vise in the corner, and make a really sturdy, awesome welding table. Would you like to join me? Let the time lapse begin. Alright guys, got it all welded, all the legs welded onto it, and this thing is looking awesome. Got the vise I'm putting on here, just kind of sitting here and just to make sure it will fit with that leg there. Looks perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and build the angle iron supports for the shelf in the bottom. Then I can put the shelf in there, and then we get the welders sitting here. And then add all the rest of the little stuff to this. But this thing is looking great, and it is super, super strong. So anyway, it is becoming super, super awesome. So let's keep the time lapse going. Alright guys, the table is almost finished. Just finished up the bracing for the shelf on the bottom and added a lot more strength to the whole table itself because it tied all the legs together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the piece of sheet metal to lay across this and then flip it over and tack weld it all up and down the bottom of this. So let the time lapse begin. Alright guys, that's what we got done today. We basically got the entire table built, got the shelf in here. I have it tack welded along the whole outside. It's definitely in there, but it's not super strong yet. Still, I flip the whole thing over and weld up all this brace underneath, weld it all fully up. But then that'll be pretty much done. Something to mount the vise on the corner here, just drill 4 holes and bolt that to the top of the table, as well as make hooks here. Make 4 hooks, one here, one there, and one there. Then when I put my wire welder in this corner and the plasma cutter in that corner, I can have the cables looped up, curled up here, and hanging right here, so I can just grab the welding gun and go to work, or the plasma cutting gun over there. So that's what I still gotta do yet, and then I still gotta grind the top of the table smooth and flat here, get rid of this paint so it's conductive, and make it all super shiny and super conductive. So I will see you guys when it is light outside. Alright guys, the lighting situation really hasn't changed at all, and now it is snowy and freezing cold out here. But this project must continue. So I've spared you guys and basically gone over the entire table and ground down all the rusty spots. Like these legs are now nice and smooth and rust free pretty much. I've yet to grind this part here, and probably not. This is actually a really nice finish. I'll just paint over top of it, maybe scratch it up a little bit, then paint it. But now I'm currently working on the top. This is pretty much a painted surface. And for a welding table, I really don't want that, but I want everything to be conductive to this. So I have my angle grinder over here with a flap wheel on it, and it leaves with this very nice finish like here in the corner. So we go ahead and go over this entire tabletop with that. Should leave it a really nice finish, and then we can go ahead and flip the table over and paint the rest of the table. So when the time lapse commence. Alright guys, just got finished grinding down the top of this, and it is really nice finish, super smooth, super shiny. The flat disc I was using was wearing out, so I might go over it again with a brand new one sometime, but for now this will do just fine. I have the vise sitting over here in the corner where it's going to be to see how it looks. I haven't bolted it down yet, but that's where it'll sit. And then I went ahead and stuck my wire welder and my plasma cutter in the shelf to see how everything fits, and there's plenty of clearance, and it looks really good. So one final thing I'm going to do the table before I paint it is make little hooks that come out and hook the wires of each welder and plasma cutter on the inside of the table. This one will hold the welding gun. And then back here we have the ground clamp for the welder also hooked back here. I'm going to have it in such a way that the clamp itself will be clipped to the table at all times. That way then the table itself is grounded to both machines. The device is grounded, the table is grounded, so I'm going to set parts on the table here and weld them or cut them on the surface here without having to actually hook the clamp to the workpiece. So basically got to go ahead and take some flat steel, bend it, make some hooks, make 4 hooks, one over here for the plasma cutter, the ground clamp, and then for the welder and the ground clamp back there. And then we can go ahead and weld those on, and then flip the whole thing over, paint the entire legs and shelf and everything, let it dry, and then go ahead and put it in the shop and see how it looks. So let's start bending metal. Alright guys, just got these hooks welded on each corner here, or each side, one for the welding side, the one for the plasma cutting side, or arc weld, or whatever I have on the table. So, those are all welded up. So now I believe everything's pretty much ground down. I believe we can go ahead and throw a coat of paint on it. So, it is not optimal conditions. I mean, it's snowing outside, it's like 30 degrees, but it's a welding table. It's not going to be great. So, let's go ahead, get some welder cans ready, and coat this thing. Guys, it's been a couple days since I painted it. It's all dry, not a bit of the paint is wet anymore. Beautiful sunny day, much warmer than it was the other day. Should have waited the day to paint it, but oh well, it turned out really good. So this table is actually pretty much totally finished, except for mounting the vise in the corner here. But I got the hooks all on there, and everything is working just like I wanted it to. I still have to grind down a little spot for the ground clamps to actually ground the table out, but that's not hard at all. Got my plasma cutter torch sitting right here ready to go. And overall, it's really awesome. Perfect amount of space, perfect amount of room, everything. Got my welding mask in the center here, along with my gloves for welding. That's all nice and tidy now. So yeah, let's go ahead and pick this thing up, move it into the garage up there, and we can start welding on this thing. So let's go. Guys, got it all put in the garage in this place where I want it to be. This thing is very solid and very sturdy on the concrete floor. All the measurements seem right, all the legs seem to be on the floor just fine. Still need to mount the vise in the corner here, but that's just a matter of drilling for 3/8 holes. Yeah, got all the welders sitting here with the welding helmet, and I turn the Lincoln on over here. Power's right on. And the plasma cutter over here does too. The switches in the back, it's hard to get to. But yeah, it's all wired up, it's all works great. So now we can go ahead and start welding stuff. So that is pretty much exactly how to build about a 4x4, a 4x4.5 welding table with a 3/8 plate top and 2x2 box steel for the legs. Very solid, should work very well for what I want to do in this thing, which is just light fabrication. Then soon we're going to be building a much bigger actual workbench over here out of an old door and a bunch of 1/4 inch thick plate and 4x4 or really thick angle iron for the legs. Haven't decided yet. So keep an eye out for that video in the future. Also, we have my new milling machine over there that I'm still setting up and playing with. So you should see videos of that thing very soon as well. Until next time, thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.